It is. So I don't want to wake that guy. It's Tuesday, August 17th, 12:53 a.m. Here's my summary of the day. Because I want to have a recording of every day. I guess I won't, but I wish I had a diary of every day. I just had a little adventure tonight, but I'll tell you what happened this morning. Got up, was going to go for a jog, but then at 10 a.m. there was this webinar at Creative Mornings on how to travel very locally. And it was a guy who's got a PhD in something or other, and he travels a lot and travel blogs, and he taught us to go somewhere in the house, go to the kitchen and find something and then come back and tell us the story of it, as if you were a tourist in your own house. And it was like teaching you to have adventures in your own city, whatever you do around your area, see it through a tourist's eyes or through a storytelling eyes. Like when you travel, you should think of what's the story of what you're going to do. And he said it's important to, what he does is he writes himself a letter before he travels somewhere, because after you've been somewhere for the first time, after you've first seen it, you can never get that feeling back, that feeling of wonder. And it's true, it made me frustrated of thinking like, oh my God, why didn't I always have a little diary? Or when I was going to Japan or Costa Rica or even Europe when I was a kid, like why didn't I, write like I'm about to go to Europe, here's how I'm feeling, and then, oh my God, I just spent my first day in Paris and all of that. And I do have some photos. I took disposable cameras with me to Europe, and I guess that'll spur something. But that reminds me, there was this girl, Heidi, that I met, and we played a thing on her birthday in Barcelona where we were writing letters, and then the other person would take it over and continue the story and stuff. So I've got to find her. I got to dig up those photos. It'll hurt me to look those photos up. But I think she called the house once when I was like 22, apparently. I can't remember if I ever called her back or if I found her. But anyways, yeah, thank God I've got a diary of when I first kissed a girl, because I know I wrote a few pages about, oh my God, I kissed a girl. And I know I have pages when Beth kissed me, pages and pages. Oh my God, like this girl that I just loved so much. Anyways, but that's when I was like 22, I guess. So it's been a while since then. Anyways, and then that was it. Went for my jog, came back, and then I went with my parents to drive my aunt's friend Thelma home, to the airport. And then my dad's like, do you want to go to Dairy Queen? So we went to Dairy Queen, and I had half a sundae, and my dad's like, what happened? You stopped eating? I'm like, I don't want to eat ice cream anymore. I want to get into shape. And I find that this stuff is just, it's just too much. When I got a gelato last month, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I just want to eat fruit, be healthy. Anyways, then I was like, I should upload some videos, and then it was time for dinner. And on Facebook, I noticed that there was I just saw a business card in the ground. I'm like, I want to see who it was, but I can't. I can't look at everything on the ground, every piece of litter. It doesn't matter who it is. But now I'm all OCD. I want to go back. No, I won't look at it. All right, I'll go back and look at it. Anyways, so then I noticed on Facebook that there was a comedy show. Somebody posted in the comedy community saying there's 2 lottery spots for the show. All right, let's see who this is. Like it matters. What is this? Dr. Xiaobin Li. It's a doctor. That's interesting. Immigration doctor. I don't know. We'll look him up. Maybe he'll be something in my life. All right, so then I thought, okay, it's 5 o'clock. Let me see if I can write some jokes in the next couple hours. But then we had dinner, and then it was like 7:40, and I'm like, I can't do this, but I'm just going to walk over and see the show. So I watched the show, and then at some point, I think halfway through, this gentleman walked in, and the MC was like riffing with him a bit. He was asking everybody about, are you dating or whatever. He didn't ask me. At some point he just said, who are you? And I'm like, I'm Josh Rackless. And everybody laughed, but they don't know who I am. But anyways, so he was talking to this guy, and what did the guy say? He was wearing a Free the Jazz shirt. And then, I don't know, we didn't really find out much about him. But then another comedian came up, and he's like, by the way, because the guy had said his name, David Murray. And then the other comedian came up and said, are you the famous David Murray jazz musician? He's like, yes. Like, weren't you from Oakland? So yeah. And like, Grammy winner, yeah. And I was like, what? So I Googled him, and I'm like, yeah, this guy's done a lot, won a Grammy and all this stuff. So then after the show, he was sitting just having his own drink, and I just walked up. I said, hey, what did I ask him? Oh, I said, are you in town for a show? Because I was like, I was thinking maybe I could go see his show. And he's like, no, I'm just here with my wife, visiting her mother. And so we just sat and chatted for an hour or two. He bought me a whiskey, because that's what he was drinking. It was great. It's a very impressive family. He's on his third wife, and one of his daughters is a big pop star. His son is like a photographer, director. He just shot Michael Jordan and all the WNBA women. He's got a goddaughter who's a big journalist. All very impressive. Oh, and what's his other son? Oh yeah, like working for the state, like the government. All very cool. And he's going to Italy. He's going to live in Milan for a year. Oh man, it's all so cool. And then he was showing me his shirt. He's like, look, this is from Dachau in Germany. Like, he was performing there. So yeah, so then I walked him back to his hotel, and I talked to him earlier. Earlier I was saying, I guess I was saying, how long in town? Do you want to see other comedy or something? And so I said I would find him a list of comedy. And actually, I think we're passing live on Elgin here, or did we just pass it there? Yeah, there it is. I think we're live. So that's where I'm going to be doing my show next Wednesday. Got to write my comedy for that. But that's why I wanted to see this show, because I was like, I want to see what people are doing. I have to go to amateur nights just to remind myself, okay, it's not that complicated. Just go up and tell your little joke, and everybody's in the same boat. It's like, because when I'm not watching shows and I'm not performing, I just get too much in my head, like, oh, whatever I'm doing is not perfect. It's not whatever. No, it's all cool. Just enjoy it. And there was one girl who was very funny. I don't even know if she almost wasn't saying jokes. She was just sort of kind of doing what I do, like just sort of like, like feeling insecure and whatever. And I'm like, it's really good. And it's like, because somebody told me recently, a radio host said, you're naturally funny. You're going to do fine. And and I was like, yeah, it is a lot about being naturally funny. Like, it's not necessarily what you're right. It's like if you've got this, well, no, it's not even necessarily natural, but it's like, do you have the skill and the performance, and are you acting funny? Are you being funny rather than just, are you saying the right written thing? So hopefully I've got that. And so I just wanted to let you know, because I could easily go home and remember this day. I took a picture with David, but will I remember the thoughts? Will I remember all the moments? It's like, I'm realizing now in my life that, you can look at a photo of something and go, oh yeah, but you can't really, there's so many things you do. Like, we were talking about Vegas yesterday at lunch or at dinner, and I told my parents I was in Vegas. My parents were like, what? And I pulled out my photos on Google Photos, and then I could see there was videos, and I'm like, oh, see here, I like to pick up litter as well. I'm a good person. And there's like a video of me walking through the hotel with my friend Lauren that I was with, and I'm like, yeah, I could watch those, because I'll hear back sort of my little monologues and stuff that you can't remember every day of your life. You can't remember everything you said. Like, you'll never remember those things. But if you recorded them, or maybe even wrote a diary, you'll be able to go, oh, right, that's how I felt. That's cool. So my advice to young people would be, write a diary every day. Like, just write, before you go to bed, write a few sentences. Here's who I met today. Here's an idea I had. And who knows, maybe one day you'll be like, oh my God, that girl I met, that turned out to be my wife, or whatever, right? Or that idea turned out to be, I invented Facebook, or who knows. I think it helps. It's on the other hand, you're never going to go back and read every day of your whole life, because that would take your whole life again. But I don't know. Or maybe just enjoy life and don't worry about recording every minute. That's the other way to go. And I guess as much as I did write a few, my little bit of a diary in university, but I didn't do it every day. I probably should have. Why didn't I just get a tape recorder and tape myself talking every night? Hey, I met this person. Just have all these tapes. Or I could have bought just a video camera. They had video cameras. I could have just bought one and been like, here, let me record this. Imagine if I had footage of... Anyways, what's the point of going back? Everybody's a different age. I'm 48. David that I met tonight, he's 66. His wife is 53. His wife's mom is 95. Like, everybody's a different age. And he was going on about how even in recent U.S. history, 45 was old. Like, that was it. So it's good that we have medicine now and everything. We're talking about that. So yeah, so I made a new friend. Hopefully I'll see him this week. And I guess that's my day. So maybe I should do this every night, talk about my day. But it's not every day has a little adventure like that. Like, most of my days might be like, yeah, I got up, got a Subway sub, and there's nothing else. So I don't know. But even just a little diary thing, because there's a couple of things I wanted to think about. Because Charles was asking me like how I came up with my website idea, and I'm like, I don't remember. I went through my Google history, and I'm like, I guess I was thinking about it 2 years ago. But then this week, maybe a couple of days ago, I was thinking about starting Facebook groups, and it occurred to me, it's not just for the, just my friends. If you make a group and you call it like Voice Acting Mastermind, anybody who wants to learn how to voice act will find that on Facebook. So now that's how you turn Facebook into like YouTube with strangers finding you. Nobody's just randomly searching for Josh Rackless if they don't know me, but they'll be searching for voice acting or how to trade Bitcoin or how to post on Instagram. And that's how they can discover me, and that's how I can build a community. And I don't know why it only occurred to me like 2 days ago when I was just sort of thinking of, I guess, group names. Maybe I was thinking like, okay, I'd make my main group, but if I make individual groups, and I could call it like Spark the Genius, but I'm like, no, if I call it voice acting, people searching for voice acting, it'll show up first. And I'm like, right, because people search for voice acting. Maybe that was the process. I don't remember exactly. It's hard to remember everything, like every moment. You're like, oh, that's an idea. Now I've got to write down how I thought of that idea. But I guess it doesn't really matter, right? I think I just got to let go. My friend Julie in university wrote on my hand. She said, just let go. And that was supposed to be my mantra. And she loved me. I should have... anyways. But then somebody I'm going to interview for my podcast, he specializes in just letting go. That's his philosophy and everything. So maybe he'll have some tips for me. And maybe, I mean, David was inspiring. He's saying he drove a car, like he drove up from New York just now, and he drove a car around Italy, and he's had all these adventures, and he was just playing a concert in Cork, Ireland, and he's just having adventures, and he's on his third wife. So it's like, I shouldn't be like, oh, I didn't marry the one. It's like, who knows what possibilities are out there. So just gotta enjoy that and take you along on my journey. Oh, is that a beer can? Or is that a Starbucks? No, wait. That looks, what is this? Well, is this like a organic vodka lemonade? Oh, yep. That is 10 cents. There we go. Look, I just made 10 cents. All right, so you guys have a good night. Not that I'm going to post this right now, tonight, but I hope you enjoyed this diary. And one last thing. I just saw an article. Somebody posted in an anti-aging Facebook group an article that says this is the one thing you need to do to extend your life. And it's have like a strong social network like those people. So that's what I'm doing. I'm reaching out to you guys. And I listened to a podcast by Kathy Heller today, and she was saying, oh, look, another business card. I think that's a don't smoke thing. She was saying that the way to have abundance in your life, just to help people. Just text some people, just offer them things, help people, and then it'll come back to you. And it'll make you feel good, just helping people with no, not needing anything else in return. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to give to you, and that's what I decided today. That's it. I'm just going to start teaching people. I'm going to start helping people. I'm going to call myself Spark the Genius. I'm going to start Spark University, but it's like Spark You, get it? And and then just make groups for those different things. And I'm the professor. I'm the dean of my school, and I'm going to teach you guys anything I know and find other people who could teach us things and also support each other. And I've always wanted to live in university, so that's what I'll do. I'll be my own university. So that's my big idea. So now I gotta go to bed because I ordered orange juice originally at the restaurant, and then David bought me a whiskey, and then I was like, ugh, and the waiter was like, yeah, it's stronger than the orange juice you had, eh? I'm like, yes. I didn't hear what he said at first. He had a mask on. I'm like, what was that? And then he told me, and I'm like, yes, it is. All right. Good night.